Hello, and welcome to Public Domain Films Podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into films that have shaped the world of cinema. Today, we're taking a journey into the shadowy and surreal world of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, the 1920 German silent horror classic directed by Robert Wiene. Often hailed as the first true horror film, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is more than just a movie. It's a haunting exploration of authority, madness, and the blurred line between perception and reality. With its groundbreaking visuals and psychological depth, this film stands as a cornerstone of German Expressionism and an enduring masterpiece in cinematic history. Let's step into its distorted world. Part 1. Setting the stage. To understand The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, we must first explore its context. The film was born in post-World War I Germany, a time of immense social and political upheaval. The nation was reeling from the war's devastation, grappling with the collapse of the German Empire, and transitioning into the Weimar Republic. This era became a fertile ground for artistic experimentation, giving rise to German Expressionism, a movement defined by its rejection of realism in favor of stylized, emotional exaggeration. The script was penned by Karl Mayr and Hans Janowitz, two writers profoundly affected by their experiences with authority during the war. Mayr, who feigned madness to avoid military service, and Janowitz, embittered by his time as an officer, sought to channel their distrust of authority into a story that was both fantastical and deeply symbolic. They crafted a tale of Dr. Caligari, a mysterious and manipulative hypnotist, and Cesare, his somnambulist accomplice, who commits murders under his control. Their work also drew on personal experiences. Janowitz claimed he once witnessed a murder outside a fairground in Hamburg, which inspired the dark, carnival-like atmosphere of Holstenwall, the fictional town in the film. Part 2. Visual Style and Production. The true genius of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari lies in its visual design, which was revolutionary for its time. The production team, led by art directors Hermann Worm, Walter Reimann, and Walter Ruhrig, chose to abandon realism entirely, instead crafting a world of distorted perspectives and jagged forms. Sets were painted with twisting streets, leaning buildings, and exaggerated shadows, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that reflected the story's psychological themes. The film's visual style is quintessential German Expressionism, with its angular shapes and chiaroscuro lighting evoking a sense of unease. This was not just an artistic choice, but also a practical one. The use of painted sets and minimalist props allowed the filmmakers to work within a modest budget while achieving a striking aesthetic. Even the inner titles mirrored the film's surreal style, with jagged, hand-drawn lettering that emphasized the distorted nature of the story. These creative choices helped establish a visual language for psychological horror and influenced countless films to come. Part 3. Storytelling and Themes. The narrative of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is framed by a twist that challenges our perception of reality. Francis, the protagonist, recounts the chilling events in Holstenwall, where Dr. Caligari arrives with his sideshow attraction. Cesare, a sleepwalker who can predict the future. When Cesare foretells the death of Franz's friend Alan, the prophecy comes true, plunging the town into terror. As Francis investigates, he uncovers Caligari's dark manipulation of Cesare, culminating in a shocking revelation. Dr. Caligari is not merely a traveling showman, but the director of an insane asylum. However, the film's final twist reveals Francis as an asylum inmate, casting doubt on the entire narrative. Is Caligari truly a villain, or is this the delusion of a fractured mind? This ambiguity is one of the film's most enduring qualities. It explores themes of authority and control, with Caligari representing a tyrannical figure who bends others to his will. Critics have also interpreted Cesare as a symbol of the common man, manipulated into committing acts of violence, much like soldiers in wartime. Part 4. The Performances. The film's cast brought incredible depth to their roles, amplifying the eerie atmosphere. Werner Krauss as Dr. Caligari and Conrad Veidt as Cesare delivered performances steeped in expressionist theatrics, using exaggerated movements and facial expressions to match the film's surreal sets. Cesare's awakening scene remains one of cinema's most iconic moments. As the camera zooms in on his pale, ghostly face, his slow, deliberate movements create an unsettling tension. Krauss's portrayal of Caligari, with his twisted gestures and penetrating gaze, embodies the archetype of the mad scientist, a character trope that has influenced horror villains for decades. Even supporting characters, like Friedrich Freher's Francis and Lil Dagover's Jane, contributed to the film's emotional resonance, grounding the abstract visuals in human vulnerability. Part 5. Reception and Impact. Upon its release on February 26, 1920, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari captivated audiences and critics alike. Its premiere at Berlin's Marmorhaus Theater was met with awe and acclaim, with some reports claiming that women fainted during Cesare's more intense scenes. Internationally, the film found a receptive audience, influencing filmmakers from France to the United States. However, reactions weren't universally positive. Some critics dismissed its avant-garde style as too theatrical or alienating. Others, like Siegfried Krakauer, argued that the addition of the frame narrative diluted the film's anti-authoritarian message, transforming a revolutionary story into one of conformity. Despite these debates, Caligari became a touchstone in cinematic history, inspiring the development of horror, film noir, and even science fiction. Films like Nosferatu, Metropolis, and Blade Runner owe a debt to its innovative use of light, shadow, and set design. Part 6. Legacy and Enduring Influence. Today, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is regarded as a masterpiece of silent cinema and a foundational work of psychological horror. It has been included in countless greatest films lists and continues to be studied in film schools around the world. Its themes of manipulation and madness remain as relevant as ever, resonating with contemporary audiences. The film's influence extends beyond cinema. Its expressionist aesthetic has inspired theater, literature, and even modern video games. It paved the way for the psychological thriller genre and introduced the unreliable narrator, a storytelling device that remains a favorite among filmmakers and writers. Closing thoughts. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a film that transcends its medium, immersing viewers in a world of distorted reality and emotional intensity. It's a testament to the power of visual storytelling and the enduring impact of cinema as an art form. If you haven't seen it yet, I urge you to experience its haunting beauty. It's a journey into the depths of the human mind, and one you won't soon forget. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them on social media using the hashtag Public Domain Films Podcast. Until next time, this has been Public Domain Films Podcast. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep watching.